I never thought I'd find myself in this situation, staring at my wife, Emily, as the truth unfolded in front of my eyes. We had been married for 5 years, and like most couples, I believed that trust was the foundation of our marriage. I thought we were partners, equal in understanding, respect, and love. But sometimes the things you think you know about someone turn out to be illusions. And the illusion shattered the moment I discovered what she had been hiding. It all started a few months ago. Emily had begun spending more time at work, longer hours, and with a strange enthusiasm I hadn't seen before. First, I shrugged it off. Her job as a project manager at a corporate firm was demanding, and she had always been ambitious. But the late nights started becoming a pattern. Phone calls she wouldn't take, texts she hid from me, and excuses that never quite added up. Something was wrong, and deep down, I knew it. The first red flag came when her coworker, a man named David, started showing up in the stories she told me. She painted him as just a friendly colleague, someone who helped with deadlines, offered support during stressful days. But there was a tone in her voice, a hesitation that didn't sit right with me. A gut feeling began to grow, one I couldn't ignore. I started noticing little things, the way her messages would disappear when I entered the room, her sudden defensiveness, the casual lies that didn't feel casual at all. One evening, Emily came home late. She smelled different. Not her usual perfume, but something richer, stronger, undeniably masculine. My chest tightened, and I asked her about it. She laughed nervously, saying she'd met a client. Something in the way she avoided eye contact told me the truth was far from what she was saying. My heart sank, but I didn't say a word. I waited because confrontation without evidence would get me nowhere. I had to know the truth before taking any step. 2 weeks later, I caught it, the messages on her work laptop. At first, I couldn't believe what I was seeing. David, the married coworker, and Emily, my wife, exchanging intimate texts and photos. The words were explicit, the tone unmistakable. My world froze. I read the messages again and again, trying to convince myself it was some mistake, a misunderstanding. But every word confirmed it. My wife had cheated with someone who was already married. The betrayal was not just about the infidelity. It was about secrecy, deception, and the complete disregard for the sanctity of marriage. My mind raced. What would his wife think if she knew? She had a right to know the truth. And yet I hesitated. Acting impulsively could destroy lives beyond mine. I needed a plan, a way to handle this with clarity and not just raw emotion. Over the next few days, I observed Emily carefully, noting every detail, every shift in her behavior. I couldn't confront her yet. If I did, she might cover her tracks, delete evidence, and the truth would vanish. But I couldn't stay passive either. My mind was consumed with questions. How long had this been going on? What did David promise her that I couldn't? And most importantly, how could I make his wife see what was really happening without causing irreparable harm? Then came the day I decided to take action. I reached out to David's wife, a woman named Amanda, cautiously. I didn't want to approach her with accusations or assumptions. I simply asked if she had noticed anything unusual, any signs that David might be hiding something. She was skeptical at first, defensive even, insisting that David was always honest and that their marriage was strong. I didn't blame her. I would have reacted the same way, but I kept my composure, letting her speak, watching, listening, gathering. That night, Emily returned home later than usual, her mood lighter than usual, as if she had accomplished something. I made dinner quietly, pretending nothing was wrong, while my mind calculated the next steps. I needed her to feel safe, to let her guard down so that no one would suspect I knew. The irony of living with someone who was plotting betrayal while maintaining a facade of normalcy wasn't lost on me. Every laugh, every casual comment she made became part of the puzzle I was piecing together. Over the following week, I subtly collected evidence, screenshots of texts, timestamps, and the slight patterns of meetings and lunches she claimed were work-related. Each piece of information added weight to the narrative I already knew. Emily and David were crossing boundaries that shouldn't have existed. Every night, I reviewed the evidence, not out of obsession, but to ensure that when the time came, I could present the truth clearly, indisputably, without giving her a chance to deny it. The tension at home grew unbearable. Emily sensed a shift in me, though she didn't know why. She tried to engage in conversation, asked about my day, tried to laugh and touch me in the way she hadn't for months. But I kept my distance. My heart had hardened, not out of hate, but self-preservation. She had chosen a path, and now she would face its consequences. I wasn't going to beg, plead, or forgive blindly. The moment of reckoning had to be deliberate, controlled, precise. Finally, I arranged to meet Amanda discreetly. I knew the conversation would be difficult. No one wants to hear that their spouse has betrayed them. But she deserved to know the truth the moment she saw the evidence, the messages, the pictures, the undeniable proof. Her face went pale. Shock, disbelief, and heartbreak crossed her features in a way that made my own betrayal feel tangible all over again. And in that instant, I realized the depth of consequences that deceit can create, not just for those directly involved, but for everyone around them. Amanda sat there in silence, staring at the screen, trying to process everything. I could see the conflict in her eyes, the love she had for David clashing with the truth she could no longer ignore. I didn't need to say much. The evidence spoke for itself. I only explained the facts, nothing more. No opinions, no judgment, just the undeniable truth of the betrayal. When she finally spoke, her voice was trembling, a mix of anger and sorrow. "I can't believe this, David. My husband," she whispered, shaking her head. I handed her a folder with all the evidence I had collected over the past week. "I wanted to make sure you had proof," I said softly. "You deserve to know exactly what's been happening. Nothing more, nothing less." She nodded, tears forming in her eyes. And for the first time, I felt the weight of my own heartbreak. This wasn't just Emily's betrayal. It was a ripple that had spread into the lives of others. And now I had to live with that reality, too. When I returned home that evening, Emily was waiting. She tried to approach me, smiling faintly, but I didn't react. There was no warmth in me anymore. No immediate forgiveness, no reconciliation. Her betrayal had changed everything. The trust we once shared. The bond we had built over years had been broken. She tried to explain, stammered, offered excuses that sounded hollow even to herself. I listened silently, absorbing the words without responding, because words could not undo what had been done. I spent that night alone in our living room, staring at the dim glow of the lamp. I thought about the choices people make, the paths they take, and how quickly love can turn into deception. Betrayal isn't just a single act. It's a series of decisions, a collection of moments where someone chooses another path instead of honesty. And while anger and grief burned inside me, a strange clarity settled in. I understood now that life doesn't always give second chances. And sometimes the only way to heal is to accept the truth, no matter how painful it is. Over the following days, Emily tried to reach out to bridge the distance, but I maintained my space. The marriage we once had was no longer mine to save. Amanda, too, began the difficult process of confronting David and deciding the future of her own marriage. I never sought revenge, nor did I want to humiliate anyone publicly. This was about the truth, about accountability, and about reclaiming the dignity that betrayal had tried to strip from all of us. In the end, I learned that trust is fragile, and honesty is the only way to preserve it. I had faced betrayal head-on, not with anger alone, but with a resolve to reveal the truth, to protect those who deserved it. And while the pain of losing what I thought was safe and secure lingered, I also carried the understanding that some truths, no matter how devastating, must be faced. Only then can the healing